Welcome to my newest audience everywhere on Earth. Of course, I assume you have a deep curiosity, as do I, concerning solvable problems, one of which is forming a more perfect union. So, let's begin here at Self-Synergetic Mind, May 29, 2024. Acknowledging individual universe. If each and everyone's awareness of its own consciously coordinated interpersonal communications, as well as TUCP, the universal communications process, functions omnirationally, directly from individual universe, as its synergetic minds, metaphysical, generalized conceptioning fields of thought are always different in some total experience inventory aspects from others, then what? Synergetics 306.02. Perhaps the individual sender who generates the communications process for whatever results anticipates that others will agree with the information and who in turn will generate the communications process as a reacting receiver. The inputs and outputs, when omnirationally informed by generalized content, intend establishing a common ground that is referential to a basic event's triangle, such as it could be the largest common denominator basic disequilibrium LCD triangle, or from a differently conceived conceptuality of individual universe's basic event, a whole WHOLE system of fundamental tripartite components of the integral regeneration that consists of vectorial lines. This is from Barbara Minster Fuller's Synergetics Dictionary, November 14, 1978. In quotes, lines, edges, are the most economic omnivertexial interrelationships of the system considered, end quote. And from Synergetics 240.06, we are informed of the conceptuality of lines, areas, points, to clarify a decidedly lowest common rational denominators, referential topology, that is always relevant to individual universes' anticipatory design science realities, respecting forming a more perfect union that logically, albeit seemingly impossible, is not a product of the PRJW, politics, religion, justice, war, perpetually problem-making histories of humans on Earth. A discernible point is a tetrahedron of macro altitude and micro base, a conceptuality of a negligible altitude and base dimensions. A line is a tetrahedron of negligible base dimension and significant altitude. An area, also known as a triangular plane or opening, is a tetrahedron of negligible altitude and significant base dimensionality. Ordinarily, such generalized conceptioning is not expected for humans to cognize, much less to be recognized as an essential correlation to awareness of the constant relative abundance. Instead, we tend to take no interest in how these topological characteristics may look like under an imaginary microscope once the essentiality of the minimum structural system of universe is known. It is the first subdivision of what is wholly WHOLLY relevant to omnirational thought and language, and the conceptuality of general systems thinking, independent of size. Metaphysical mind cogitates reliably in respect to equilibrium, not the political mindsets, those religion zealots whose capacity to form a more perfect union is blocked by the overwhelming unawareness that the metaphysical is unweighable, unlimited, which is generalizable, independent of time-space sizing. If this capability is not acknowledged, how can one's synergetic mind accredit its generalized conceptioning of metaphysical evolution as a function of universe, eternal, omniscient mind? Surely, Yom is not any jihad-loving Allah whose abject ignorance of its individual universe compels its emulative slave mentality to perpetuate problem-making, enmity-making disruptions of anticipatory equanimity everywhere those mindsets are permitted a seat at the table, where the intention for a meeting of the minds is to support life, not promulgate death to everyone and anyone who is designated as an infidel, a non-believer. In any event, disseminating information involves human transceivers whose brain cerebral circuits are designed in principle to convert electrical signals into words and numbers, thought and language. Is it the cosmic stream? Is it the transceiver brain traffic? In any case, metaphysical intellect's conceptual and reasoning faculty of thought as a function of omnirational universe is essential and relevant with respect to clarifying the minimum omnitriangulated differentiators, omnitriangulation, prime structural system awareness, correlating to forming a more perfect union. Intuition's cautionary awareness of deceptive ambitions experiences a natural disdain for the subterfuges that attract those who are enamored with aspects of the deceiver's ability to play two sides against each other. And that becomes increasingly more deceptive and complicated as popularized ruses enable AI, artificial intelligence, algorithmic indoctrination now. This is occurring in absences of forethought of the vector equilibrium, which is a more perfect union's equanimity model. As Bucky Fuller wrote in 1966, and is still an applicable reminder, especially now, that AI learning is so widespread as to supplant humans with robots, in quotes, man's brain and mind are to concentrate on the function of integration and leave the functions of differentiation to the machine, end quote. As of the third decade of the 21st century, humans everywhere are not conversant with synergy, nor are we aware of it enough to consciously realize that, in quote, synergy is to energy, as integration is to differentiation, end quote. Studying the integrated behaviors of universe is what synergy means, as opposed to what is differentiated out, so that as we individually commence with forming a more perfect union, again each day, while recalling, it is integration that discreetly controls the coordination of all complex interactions. This pertains to the conceptuality of nature's coordinate system, the minimum structural system that is integral to synergetic mind's potential awareness of omnisymmetry. By educated ignorance, albeit brilliant, computerized mentalities, who latched onto the XYZ coordinates that either inadvertently or deliberately excluded synergetics that equates and accommodates Werner Heisenberg's indeterminism of mensuration, our generations have been denied a conceptual awareness of their individual metaphysical propensities that operate independent of size, time-space sizing. This is as absolute equilibrium's waveless exactitude is never physically attainable, but apparently is relevant to anticipatory design science, especially respecting equanimity. Synergetics 211. Is waveless the same as awe wave linear gravity? If so, gravity, which is innocent of wave and casts no shadows, obviously is of universe's eternal omniscient mind, as a directly referential eternal patterning integrity compared to the ambitious gods of self-deceit and self-other destruction, and who manifest overwhelming ambitions to displace human intellection. It occurred first by the gods of yore, culminating into radical belief systems, and most recently as monopolizers of algorithmic codes. In either case, the differentiating functions which ought to be left to the machine are not meant to assume predominant decisive displacement of humanity's individual metaphysical, conceptual, and reasoning synergetic mind's integral and persistent self-determination correlating to forming a more perfect union. Forming a more perfect union cannot be accomplished by AI learning, regardless how deeply into academia's education institutions and governmental systems the permeation penetrates. In such a world, the enormity of complicated desperation, which is suffered anywhere on earth, and are beyond any immediate repair, continue to dismay conscionable concern for the humans, whose awareness undoubtedly observes the inescapable depression. It gives rise to drug use. Those devastating ingredients that are homegrown and imported from deviously contrived political schemers. The various distances near and far are disconnections between irrational economic extremes and sociological difficulties that persist as governmental agencies are convinced AI system can remedy the problem. This might be as disassociation with one's own humanity's rationalized annihilation by any means, and which overall is almost too much to think about. Where there is no similarity to the referential model, where universe's minimum structural system zero-phase vector equilibrium ought to be included by metaphysical intellect's anticipatory design science. So too is potential cognition of the energetic synergetic relationship model. The conceptuality of the geometric geodesic topological universe's minimum structural system is independent of size, naturally and logically, if known. Anywhere that humans coexist, we could all be synergetically advantaged by the informed awareness of the composition of universe's synergy as a grand strategy, instead of mistakenly dealing with the parts, not beginning with the whole, W-H-O-L-E. It all may seem to be well and good to iterate what our synergetically informed, consciously evolving metaphysical intellect knows from synergetics. But now, our individual observations are well aware of self and otherness, PRJWBSHM, politics, religion, justice, war, belief system, hierarchical matrix, consternations that repetitively announce the distracted mentalities, reenacting stigmatizations that derive to enable newsworthy events and deliberately disseminated propaganda. If we react to the disturbing events by resorting to the PRJW factors, which is a contextual parameter and from which the culminating aberrance is likewise reactionary, then the PRJW factors that are almost indiscernible by degree until we identify each one as an interrelating exacerbation that always will come back into play. The PRJW can be categorized as the non-identically irreversible succession of the self-regenerative EISEDP, experiences, intuition, speculations, experiments, discoveries, productions among the human events in perpetuating, irrationally contrived, educating processes. Synergetics 502.22. Suggested reading and viewing. YouTube, The Rubin Report. Squad member makes controversial remarks at terrorist-linked conference. Synergetics 211 accommodates Heisenberg's indeterminism. Synergetics 240.06 Synergetics corollaries. Synergetics 306.02, Individual Universe. Synergetics 502.22, EISETP. Until next time, keep tuning in and reading Synergetics. It is available online. As our coexisting humanities, cosmic to local relevance consciously persists in forming a more perfect union. As this potential realization becomes clearer by the day.